Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
I got proposed a business offer to take over a business from an older gentleman who has no kids and wants to retire. I wouldn't have enough to put it all down, but I was just wondering what some pitfalls would be of that.
Okay. Were you working in the business before? How did you come across this offer?
I actually reached out to do some private work through Facebook. The guy also has some rentals, and he needed some employees. And yes, I have got my EPA certifications for refrigeration, and I was a plumber for 3 years for a construction company.
So what's the business?
It's an HVAC and plumbing business. Kind of a smaller town, but there's 3 of them collected together, and there's quite a bit of work for that company.
Okay.
Okay, how's it doing? I mean, have you looked at the numbers, and is it profitable? And if so, how well are they doing?
No, that's kind of what I was. Another thing I wanted to get into. I hadn't went across that bridge completely. I'm going to shadow him tomorrow and see how it's going. I just, if it is profitable, I did all this research. Maybe you can tell me if I researched it right, but roughly 2 to 3 times the business yearly profits is usually what a business like that would go for.
Okay.
Being a smaller business.
Yeah, you're right about that.
It's a net present value is what they call it.
Okay.
What I would not do is go down to a local bank and get a loan and buy this guy out, or I wouldn't go call the SBA and take out an SBA loan and try to buy this guy out.
Yeah.
This guy said that the guy that he originally started from, they did it as a private deal.
Mm-hmm.
He put, I think he said $20,000 down and skimmed the profits off to him as payment until the business was paid for, and then it was essentially his.
That's not a bad idea. If you just say, hey, I want to receive a salary from the business, but you're paying all the profits back to the seller until he receives the full amount, you could structure something like that.
Because that way you're not in debt to him. You will have made a salary for your work over X number of years. And let's say you have to walk away, or the economy implodes, or whatever happens, you won't be stuck with a worthless business, and yet the bank is still calling the note on your loan.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. This is also better for the seller because anybody who's going to come in with maybe cash or credit or some sort of investor is probably going to lowball them because they have debt on it, as opposed to you who's saying, hey, I value the business that you're in. Let's work together. Keep the valuation that you have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I just kind of wanted to make sure that I didn't go down the wrong rabbit hole of looking into this.
I'm going to completely fabricate numbers here, okay? So don't use my math. Just kind of get the spirit of what I'm saying. Let's say after all expenses were paid, this business is sitting on $350,000 cash at the end of every year. You've already done your depreciating assets. You put money aside. You've got all that stuff taken care of. You paid all your bills. And you decide, I'm going to take home $100K a year as a salary, as the owner, as the president of this company. I'm going to pay him, and let's say we decided on $1 million sale price. I'm going to give him $250,000 over 4 years, and at the year 4, this will be signed over to me. I'll own the whole thing.
Okay.
That's different than going to a bank and saying I need $1 million loan.
100%.
And I'm going to write him $1 million check, and then I'm going to hope that I make that back over the next 4 years.
Okay, and as well as hope the market doesn't crash in that particular business.
Here's worst case scenario for you and for him. Worst case scenario is the market crashes in 2 years. Nobody wants a plumber anymore.
Yeah, business.
Which, by the way, if we're in that world, I don't want to be in that world, right? I think we're always going to need plumbers, right? But let's pretend that happens, and that happens in 2 years. You will have made $100,000 a year as the president or CEO, whatever you want to call yourself, of this company. He will have made $250,000 a year, so he would have received $500,000.
Okay,
and that's under the made up numbers I'm just using. Then it all falls apart. It all goes away. And you come to him and you say, hey, I'm tearing this contract up. I'm walking away. And he says, I'm going to sue you. But he still has $500,000 that he has earned over 2 years. You have been paid for your wages. And there's not a bank saying, hey, I want my money back.
Right.
Do you get the difference? And now he may look at you and say, go jump in a lake. I'm not doing this. We're going to structure a dollar amount, and you're going to owe me this dollar amount. Jade and I would just tell you, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, who knows what the world's going to look like? That's another presidential election away. Let me put it that way. Who knows what the world's going to look like? So I would not I would not put myself on the hook like that downstream.
Right. And that kind of really solidifies my answer. I was leaning towards it, but I just, I am doing the baby steps. I haven't particularly went through it, but I do have enough for 6 months' wages, and I am investing 11% into retirement.
What is the amount of the business? What is he selling it for?
Like I said, I hadn't quite gotten into that. Maybe I should have had that information before I called you guys. Yeah. But I'm going to job shadow him tomorrow, and kind of after the day, make sure that he is really a profitable business.
I wouldn't, not after the day. I would do this for a little while.
Yeah. How old are you, Kane?
I'm 22.
Okay, I'm going to say something and not at you. I'm going to say it with you, okay?
Okay.
You're wandering into what I'd call adult land, big boy, big girl land, okay?
Okay.
And that's when you say things like, I need to see the last 4 years of your books, or the last 5 years of your books. I need to see all the outstanding debts. I need to see any notes you have called, and I'm going to have an accountant look over it all.
And I'm rowing the canoe back for a minute. Everything that John said and everything that I've said about structuring this deal is accurate. I don't like this for you. I'm just going to come out and say that because I want to go on record as saying, for you at your age, I'd like you to get your feet wet starting your own business first before you just up and take on something that there's so many learning curves, I think, in business. And I would love for you to learn those with lower stakes before you come in and learn them with high stakes, where there's really a lot of money on the line and there's a time frame. Yeah, and there's a time frame where you're having to kind of, like if this is the salary that I'm paying back, I'm getting my salary, I'm paying him back. There is going to be a term to that, and you are going to have to make good on that, depending on how you structure it. So Mama J doesn't like this for you yet. I'm just going to say that.
So let me ask you, what do you think, what's the difference going to be between you running out and getting your own business?
The clientele market is pretty stiff. The reason why they're loyal to him, so to speak, is because he takes service calls. So if the furnace goes down at midnight, he will be there at midnight, and he's a one-man show. So that's kind of how this business proposition came about.
But the thing about it is,
at midnight.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
You can be amazing at your job. You can know HVAC very well. You can be good with customers. It doesn't mean you're good at running a business.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I want you to learn on your own first. Are you an organized person? Are you good with operations? Are you good with logistics? Are you good with handling, all of those ins and out payroll? Like, are you good with that stuff? Because if it's a one-man show, it is requiring you to wear all those hats. And the truth is, no one gets it all right the first time. Like, there's quite a learning curve there. And like I said before, I love for you to learn that with lower stakes.
And dude, I'm going to recant on my support too. Here's why. You just said this is a one-man shop?
His wife actually writes down the payroll, and they take it to an accountant.
Okay, it's a one employee shop. So what you're buying is
his book of business.
His book of business. You do not need to do that. You need to open up a local Facebook marketplace ad and say, I will be there 24/7, 365. Midnight, 2 a.m., I will be there. And you're going to get a few calls. You're going to show up at midnight, and you're going to start your own business. You don't buy somebody's clients from them in this one-man shop kind of way. You can do that. I wouldn't do it. If there's a big company, maybe. But
I agree.
I'm recounting on my offer.
I am too.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.